Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to focus on creating prefabs for our player and our block game objects, and then work on updating our level to hide our player and our block tile layers, and then spawn our prefabs once our game starts. You might be wondering why we don't just move the tiles directly on our tile map when our player needs to move or push a block. There's a few different reasons we'd want to create prefabs instead. First is our separation of concerns. Our tile map and our tile layers are mainly for our static layout of our level. This would include things like our walls, our floors, and our obstacles. These things are static and they don't move around our game. Our player and our block are dynamic and we need to be able to move them around, so keeping them separate makes our logic cleaner. Next is our reusability. So by turning our player or our block into a prefab, we can easily reuse this across multiple levels without needing to duplicate our code or our setup. Finally, flexibility. Prefabs can have their own behavior, animations, and interactions independent of our tile map. For example, our player can listen for input, and our blocks can handle collisions or snapping to grid positions. For example, our player prefab, we can do things like play animations for idle or movement when our player moves around our level. If we try to do this with a regular tile, it would take a lot of extra work to get something very simple. It's just much easier and cleaner to use a separate game object, and in our case, a prefab. Essentially, for our game, we want our tile map to define our level layout, and prefabs are going to define our actors and items that can interact within it. This makes it much easier to expand our game later, like adding new block types, enemies, or even special effects. A good way to think of this is we can think of our tile map as a board, like in a board game. Our tiles are the squares on our board, prefabs are the pieces you can move around the board, like our chess pieces. You wouldn't repaint the square every time you move a pawn, you would just move the pawn itself. So to start creating our prefabs, in our file inspector, let's right click on our prefabs folder, we're going to do new, we'll do a new prefab file. First we'll do our box, so we're going to do our box prefab. We'll do create, and now when our scene opens up, we need to choose our base block for our prefab. So for our box, we'll want to open up our props sprite sheet. From here, we're going to drag in our frame for our box. Once we do this, this is going to add our game object to our scene, and so now we're just going to update our default position to be 0, 0. And now for it to match the size of our tiles, we'll want to scale this by 2. Let's go ahead and save. Once we save, this is going to generate our boxprefab.js file. I'm going to open that up real quick, and we'll see that our block is extending our image game object type. So now that we have our box prefab, let's create our player. We'll right click, we'll do new prefab file, we'll do player prefab. Let's go down to our sprite sheets, we'll choose our elf, let's choose our first frame, we'll scale up our game object, and let's put our position in the top left hand corner. Let's go ahead and save. And now for our player prefab, because we want to play animations, we're going to change our type from an image game object, and we'll do a sprite game object. By doing a sprite game object, this will allow us to play our animations. Now that we have our new prefabs, let's add them to our scene. First, we'll drag an instance of our player. We won't worry about positioning our game objects exactly, we just want them close to where they should be spawned at. Once we started to add in our game logic, we're going to dynamically spawn these game objects for each of our levels. So now that we have our player, let's drag an instance of our box. Position that over our other box. Now if we go to our player tile layer, let's go to visible, we're going to make it not visible. We'll do the same thing for our block tile layer. Now if we save, come back over to our game, once we get to our level, we should see our player and our box prefabs. Just to make sure everything's working because it looks so similar to as before, I'm going to scale up our player. We're going to scale it to be 4 for our X and Y. We'll save, go back to our level, and we'll see that our changes to our prefab are showing up in our level. Nice. I'm going to reset our scale, and we'll go ahead and save. Finally, for our player, let's add in our idle animation. So to create animations in Phaser Editor, we first need to create an animations file. So under our assets folder, or right click, we're going to do new. We'll do an animations file. We're going to call this animations. We'll hit create. Now in our animation editor, we can do add animation. I'm going to call this player_idle. Hit OK. Now we need to choose our frames. And so for our frames, we're going to do 0, 1, and 2. So now for our animation, we want this to be a little bit slower. So we'll update our frame rate. We'll do 5. We'll do 0 for our delay. We want this to repeat indefinitely. So we'll go ahead and save. Now if we come back to our player prefab, if we choose our game object, we'll come down to our animation panel in our inspector. For our action, we want to do play, so we'll start playing an animation, and now we need to choose our animation key. Oh, there's no animations. And so to fix that, we need to tell Phaser to load in our animations JSON file. But to do that, we'll go to our file panel. Let's click on animations.json. We want to do import as animation. We'll add that to our asset pack. Once we do that, if we come back to our player prefab, now in our animation panel, we should be able to choose our idle key. Now if we save, let's come back to our game. Now once we start our level, our player instance is now animated. Nice. Alright, so real quick, what we did here to create our animations, first we need an animations JSON file in Phaser Editor. Once we add in that JSON file and define our animation, we need to add it to our asset pack. Once we do that, there's going to be a new key added to our JSON file called animations, and it's going to have that file that we just created. And once we do that, once Phaser loads this JSON file, it's going to dynamically create our animations that we need for our game. And since we load our asset pack in our preloader scene, this makes sure all of our animations are ready and created by the time we get to our level scene. And with that, we now have our foundation in place. We have our title scene, we have our first level, and our tile map, and we have our prefabs that are ready to move around our game once we have our actual logic. In our next lesson, we'll start building the core Sokoban logic, so handling how the player moves, how our blocks can push, and how to detect when our level is complete. We're going to start by isolating all of that logic into its own class so it's clean and reusable.